Welcome to another episode of our live stream, My Journey to the Trinity. My name is Hussein. Happy to be with you. Happy you could be with me. Hope you're having a good night. And today I was at work and, sorry, I want to have my, definitely want to have that up there. And while I was at work, I was listening to someone I don't usually listen to, which is Daniel Haqiqatjou, because he did something about Muhammad hijab. So Daniel Haqiqatjou did something about Muhammad hijab and the situation with Aisha. And I was pretty depressed. I mean, impressed. No, I'm just kidding. Not impressed at all. Just, I thought, you know what? The stuff that he's saying is, I think it needs to be heard. What Daniel Haqiqatjou said about the Muhammad hijab situation, not just because of its particular relationship to Muhammad hijab and Aisha, but just that these, just that he would say these things. It was so I'm just going to play some clips for you. It's in this video right here. Let me show it to you. It's examining the accusations against Muhammad hijab. Okay, this is the Haqiqat show, Haqiqatjou show. And I think this guy is Iranian, and I think his name is Haqiq. Haqiq in Arabic means true. Haqiq, Haqiqi is true. Il-Haq means the truth. And so his name, Haqiqatjou, I think it's got a relationship to truth somehow. Hey, Emmanuel, God bless you, brother. So, all right, let's just watch a little bit. We could watch the whole thing. I mean, the whole thing is like unbelievable. But I'm just going to play some parts here, some of the things that he says about Aisha. Okay, so let's, so he's, let's see, 2216. Okay.
So I'm only doing this to preserve my aqidah, to preserve my faith, and I can only do that if I expose.
Okay, now this is what Aisha said. This is what Aisha said about her motivation for coming out with the information about Muhammad hijab, or the allegation she's made against Muhammad hijab. Okay, so she said, that she's doing it for her religion and everything, and so he's responding to what she said. So
Muhammad hijab for what he actually is and what he actually did. That's crazy. That's insane. Like, your faith in Islam, like, how could you even say such a thing? Your faith in Islam depends on exposing Muhammad hijab for what he actually did. And what are you claiming that he actually did? You're claiming that he married you and then he didn't uphold what he claimed to want, or he promised you in that marriage. But as we'll see, every single woman who has ever been divorced claims the same thing about her husband. Isn't this true? Have you ever met a divorced woman who didn't claim to be abused, who didn't claim that her husband mistreated her, who didn't claim that her husband didn't live up to her expectations or didn't fulfill the promises that he made to her? That's every single marriage, every single divorce.
So I'm not sure whose side he's on. I don't know. Maybe you guys can figure it out better than I can. but it looks a lot like he is. Hello, Jedediah. Hello, Tiger. Hello, Emmanuel and Andrew. God bless you all. So, yeah, this guy, I can't tell whose side he's on. So,
Every single divorced woman claims the same thing about her husband not meeting her or not meeting the expectations, not fulfilling the promises. But in this case, Muhammad Hijab is a public figure. Muhammad Hijab is someone who can be damaged by a scandal. Muhammad Hijab is someone who can be, his name can be dragged through the mud because he has that fame and popularity. So, tying your faith, being a Muslim, your aqidah, to exposing Muhammad Hijab, this is a big problem. This is problematic to say.
okay, so he's saying it's problematic for her to do this. And, you know, he's, I feel like he's grasping at straws to defend Muhammad Hijab. And, and you'll find that this is his attitude throughout this entire um, a video that he made about this. So,
Such a thing.
okay, now I want to go forward a little bit, and she was saying how she has problems and how that he has destroyed her life, kind of. And so let's see the compassionate response of Daniel Haqiqatjou. Very compassionate response to her. And, not too unsimilar to what Ali Dawah did, but
Years of da'wah came to actually fight against harming others.
So, if your problem is with what Muhammad Hijab teaches in terms of marriage, what she calls McDonald's marriage, McDonald's nikah, if you have a problem with,
okay, now she calls it McDonald's nikah. But wasn't it Muhammad Hijab in that video where he's laughing and he says that you can have a mahr, the dowry, be a sandwich. Remember that video where Muhammad Hijab is talking about how he marries people if there's two witnesses and he marries them over Zoom? And if there's two witnesses and there's a mahr, which could be a sandwich, that they can get married so that the guy won't do haram. And this guy right here, he's making fun of her for calling it McDonald's, but that's exactly what, and this guy himself is going to go on to justify this.
what Muhammad Hijab is teaching, criticize that. Write a refutation, bring your dalil, bring evidences to show that what he's saying is incorrect. That is available to everyone. But that's not what you're doing. You didn't do that before. Even according to yourself, you didn't do that before. According to you, you married him. And then when things didn't turn out the way that you wanted, now you have this mission to expose the wrong ahkam, the wrong teachings of Muhammad Hijab. Don't you think this raises eyebrows, raises suspicions about your intention and your motives? If what he was teaching was so you only know that something is wrong or the principles of Islam have been violated if you yourself feel injustice, if you feel wronged, then you realize, oh, these teachings are wrong. That undermines a little bit of your credibility.
Wow. So he's saying, I mean, she, in her defense, she came out and said exactly that she is doing this because of what he did to her. And she said that she is bitter and she swore by Allah and she did her mubahada and did all those things, Um, and I'm not sure, unless he's trying so much to defend Muhammad hijab that he's just not willing to give her any benefit of the doubt that she might, you know, have a legitimate case here. But there's a sense in which I see a couple things at play here. One, he wants to defend Muhammad hijab. That seems to me very obvious. He's not looking for some higher principle, not looking for some more moral truth, or um, like the guy on Beyond Behind the Veils. It just seems like he's very set on defending Muhammad's hijab, and not just defending Muhammad's hijab, but defending men. That's kind of what it sounds like, because I was hard pressed to find a nice word about a woman in what he said. In all the things that you could listen to the whole thing, I didn't find any nice words about women. It's just like, women, you kind of got to put up with this. This is what the Aqidah permits, and you just got to put up with it. You know, grin and bear it. That's the thing about Islam, is that women uh, have no rights here on earth, as Aisha found. Um, they'll find no sympathy here on earth because of what Islam teaches about what a man is allowed to do. And then Muhammad said that the majority of the dwellers of hell are women, so they get to go to hell in larger numbers. I think it's like 2/3, huge number. And then if they get to make it to Jannah, they have to stand by and watch their husband, uh, make love to 4,900 different women in addition to them. The only thing that they have, um, according to Sheikh Asim and other great scholars, is that they may end up being prettier than the 4,900 women that their spouse is going to get in Jannah. Now, when I say 4,900, that's because if you look, the man is supposed to get 72 women, 72 virgins. Um, but each one of those virgins in some hadiths also have 72 virgins. So it's really 72 times 72, by around 4,900 um, virgins for each man. And so the wife, she gets only her husband. The wife only gets her husband. So she just gets to wait. And when you do the math of how long this woman has to wait to see her husband. It takes about 10 million years to go through all 4,900 women. And because it takes a lot of time in Jannah, each encounter takes about 10,000 years. Okay, each encounter with each woman takes about 10,000 years. So you got to multiply 10,000 times 4,900, and it comes out to about 10 million years uh, that the woman has to wait until her turn again. So women just don't get any breaks in Islam. That's why no woman should be a Muslim. But listening to what this guy says, it is very clear that women have no rights in Islam. So let's continue hearing what he has to say. Okay. Okay, just one second here. All right. Lust and death near. Okay, let's see. We're going to go to this next part again, talking about him destroying her life, and how Haqiqatjou feels about that.
Clip. So she claims that my life has been destroyed. He has destroyed my life. again, go by her claim that her life has been destroyed. Why? If
Why? Okay, she was divorced, has a kid, was looking for counsel. Muhammad Hijab offered her counsel, according to her, and then he started took an interest in her, and then started making motions that he wanted to marry her. It did, but then, after they got married, consummated the wedding, he says he only wants a hotel marriage. She was expecting that she had some protection, some safety for her and her daughter, because she trusted Muhammad Hijab. She's seen his videos. She knew about him. Has a reputation of being very religious, and that's what she said. And so you kind of understand how this destroyed her life, and the fact that he wanted to keep it a secret marriage. He wanted to just like do the hotel thing. And he's asking, why? Why did it destroy your life? I don't know. Seems a little bit disingenuous, if you ask me.
Muhammad Hijab, assuming what you're saying is correct, he married you, and then he did not give you the kind of marriage that you wanted. He didn't give you the money that you thought you were in.
Okay, he didn't give her the marriage she wanted because Muhammad Hijab, according to what she said that they were going to be married and she's going to be the second wife. And she had done her prayers and stuff and talked to her father and had come to accept that she would be the second wife. But after they got married, according to her, he told her he didn't want just a second wife. He wanted a girlfriend-boyfriend relationship. This is after they got married. Okay. So, he doesn't mention that, but it seems like there was some lying that went on there. And if according to her, what she said. So
Entitled to. How is that destroying your life? You get divorced and then you move on.
You move on. He did this to you. Just move on.
You get divorced and you.
By the way, I've heard that divorce is the most painful experience people go through. Some have said that it's even more painful than losing somebody in death, because that's what I've heard. So, I mean, divorce is an extremely painful situation.
You move on. If your life is destroyed by people mistreating you or not giving you your rights, then how many of us have had our lives destroyed? I've been mistreated and my rights have been usurped by Muslims many times. And by even some of these du'at or some of these shuyukh or some of these organizations, they have lied to me. They have
Shiyukh. Even shiyukh have lied to him.
really oppressed me. Or
he's throwing all these people under the bus. Why is he throwing them all under the bus? Because he wants to defend Muhammad Hijab. The idea is to defend Muhammad Hijab. So he's willing to throw the shiyukh under the bus. He's willing to throw Muslims. He said these are Muslims who've done this to him. He's throwing them under the bus, all in order to defend Muhammad Hijab. That's what it looks like to me.
taking my rights, my life wasn't destroyed. And even if it were, I would hate to admit that publicly. I would hate to say, oh, my life, Fulan Sheikh has destroyed my life. And now my aqidah is in danger if I don't expose this to the world. Even if that were the case, I would never admit to being that kind of a victim. But I guess that's the difference between like a male mentality and a female mentality.
So there, now we got some really nice gender studies, gender studies with Daniel Haqiqatjou. You know that this is a problem between, you know, the difference between men and women. You know that women want to go out there and expose their ex-husbands and, you know, injustices, whereas men don't do that. I guess that's what he's saying. But I mean, he doesn't give her an inch. He doesn't give her nothing in this, you know, no sympathy whatsoever. So yeah. All right. Then we go on and let's see if we can go here. You know what? We can listen to the whole thing. The whole thing is like this. Okay. But let's hear what he says here.
Your faith. So if the sister is watching this, you need to reflect. You need to take a step back and question, why are you saying this? Like, why are you making it a matter of your faith? Muhammad Hijab is one person. Even if everything that you say about him is true, he's just one person. He represents no one except himself. And what he teaches, if he's teaching it according to what other scholars say, other ulama say, then it's correct. And if it's from his own opinion, from his own views or his own ijtihad, then it's on him. Islam is not on trial here.
He's wrong. He's wrong about that. I just want to say he's wrong about that. Islam is on trial here. Islam is on trial here. More than Muhammad Hijab, more than Aisha. Islam is on trial here. Because, like he's going to say, everything that Muhammad Hijab did was halal. Everything Muhammad Hijab did was halal. And so if it's halal, that means the religion allows it. And everything this woman is complaining about is things that Islam allows. The only thing that, you know, it doesn't seem right is that she's still defending Islam. I mean, she went to Muslims, she went to sheikhs, and none of them wanted to help her against Muhammad Hijab. They all said what he did is halal. Halal means it's Islamic. It's permissible to Allah and Muhammad and the Hadith and the Shuyukh. So I just want to say I disagree with what he said. Let's listen one more time to what he said here. I disagree with him.
Reflect. You need to take a step back and question, why are you saying this? Like, why are you making it a matter of your faith? Muhammad Hijab is one person. Even if everything that you say about him is true, he's just one person. He represents no one except himself. And what he teaches, if he's teaching it according to what other scholars say, other ulama say, then it's correct. And if
it's correct, it's halal.
It's from his own opinion, from his own views or his own ijtihad, then it's on him. Islam is not on trial here.
Islam is on trial here. Absolutely, Islam is on trial here. And you guys, I've said it before and I'll say it again, that I have a dream of a video that comes out with Suleiman, the guy from Behind the Veils, Aisha, and Muhammad Hijab's current wife, all doing a video together saying that they are leaving Islam. They don't believe in Islam anymore and coming to the Lord Jesus, giving their testimony. That's my dream video. And you guys, if we see it, remember, you heard it here first. Okay. So he says Islam is not on trial. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Islam is definitely on trial. This is Islam that is on trial. More than Muhammad Hijab, more than Aisha, Islam is on trial. because it allows. Everything he did is halal. And I'm not expecting her to get any justice. That's my opinion, is that she's not going to get any justice because Muhammad said everything he did was okay. The lying, what about the lying to her after they got married? Assuming that happened, that's what she says happened. The lying, assuming that happened, it's permissible. Muhammad said you're allowed to lie to three people, to your friends, to your enemies, and to your wife. Who's left? Your friends, your enemies, and your wife. You're allowed to lie to them according to Muhammad. So, sorry, but Islam is on trial. There's no way around it. Islam is on trial. Okay, so let's hear a few minutes.
And you shouldn't make Islam be on trial by posting like a video like this. This is a matter of faith.
Yes, she should. Yes, she should. Yes, she should. Okay. Now I'm talking about
Islam.
And publicly sooner, many McDonald nikahs would have been prevented. Many women.
Okay, McDonald's nikah. What does she mean by McDonald's nikah? So it's referring to the idea of essentially a misyar marriage, and we'll define what misyar marriage is. But it's a marriage that the mahar is through like a McDonald's meal. You give the mahar of a McDonald's meal, and there are two male witnesses, and there is consent of the woman and the man. They get married. This is a valid nikah contract. If there are witnesses, maybe there's a wali as well.
Okay, so she calls it a McDonald's nikah. He's kind of making fun of her, like, whatever, where'd you get that from? But then he goes on to say that it is legitimate. It is a legal binding McDonald's contract. It is a legal binding marriage contract, a McDonald's nikah. So what she's saying is legitimate, and so.
And they might say, oh, no, we take the opinion that there is no wali needed in this situation. It's very questionable how that is actually implemented, because this is like a minority opinion that no wali is needed, and it's only in specific cases, like for a divorcee, a woman who has already passed, has been divorced, or maybe she has a certain age. But putting those details aside, this is what she calls a McDonald's nikah. Well, is this valid in Islam? Is this a valid marriage in Islam? Just because you have titled it McDonald's nikah to give it a bad name, is it actually valid according to the Sharia? And you'll have different opinions. You'll have different opinions, but the mahar being only a McDonald's meal, that doesn't invalidate a marriage. If you go to a woman and her wali and say, I'll marry you and your mahar is this this Big Mac, halal Big Mac with fries, this is your mahar, and she accepts that, she accepts it, her wali accepts it, her guardian accepts it, that's a valid contract. That's a valid contract. And even less than that could be a valid contract, because it's a voluntary. You've entered into the contract voluntarily, and you have Islam gives you the freedom to do that as a woman.
Islam gives you the freedom to do that as a woman. Islam gives you the freedom to do that as a woman. You're allowed to have a McDonald's nikah, according to Daniel Haqiqatjou here, that you are allowed. Islam allows you the freedom to accept a McDonald's nikah, a McDonald's sandwich, a cheeseburger as a mahar. Now I'll tell you about the mahar that I know when I lived in the Middle East, that the mahar is a big deal. because the woman, in case her husband decides to divorce her, loses temper with her, throws her out on the street, or he marries another woman, all of this happens. The mahr, the money, the value of the mahr, is something that she can keep to sustain herself for the rest of her life in case, a divorce happens. But if it's just a cheeseburger, a halal cheeseburger. No, he did say halal, a halal McDonald's quarter pounder. Um, that doesn't give her any future security. So, yeah, you can't make this stuff up, you guys. It's so hard, to make satire of something so ridiculous. It's so hard to make satire, to spoof something so ridiculous. How do you? I mean, you can't make something up. You can't make this stuff up. The reality is unbelievable, and it's so hard to make fun of it because it's so funny. It's already so hilarious. And yet it's reality, and he's saying it's reality. So,
Woman, you have the freedom to get married for as little as a Big Mac.
you have the freedom to get married for as little as a Big Mac. Islam is not on trial. So, okay. So then he really gets into defending Muhammad hijab, brings out some Quran verses. Okay, so
They want to smear the public figure, so they go to others and have others advocate on their behalf. And this is not allowed Islamically. This is not
allowed Islamically.
allowed Islamically because of this verse, because of this ayah. Allah does not love the public mention of evil except the one who has been wronged. So if you're not the one who has wronged, why are you speaking? Who gave you the right to be a judge and to decide, yeah, this person has been wronged, I'm going to come out and speak out against this? That is not allowed in Islam. Only the one, illa man dhulim. This is the clear statement of Allah.
But I'm not sure how that works, because he's talking about her. It's not allowed in Islam, but he's doing it to her, isn't he? And all these guys who are speaking against her, Ali Dawa, all the fake voices that they're using, the AI voices, the high tech, I don't want to say lynching, but the high tech, the use of high technology in order to, to make her look bad. And so I don't know. I guess maybe there's different rules for men and women.
And then there's another hadith. The Prophet ﷺ said, the whole of the Muslim is sacred to his fellow Muslim, his blood, his wealth, and his honor. The honor of a Muslim is sacred. So by slandering a Muslim or
slandering implies that she's lying. Slandering implies that she's lying. And I'm wondering, okay, slander is action or crime making a false spoken statement damaging to a person's reputation. So slander is a lie. Now, has she told a lie to where it's a slander? Slander is a crime. Slander is a crime. Is she lying? She did the mubahala. She swore by Allah that what she's saying was true. But he's saying she is slandering him, affecting his reputation. But is she? Or is she lying? Did she make this all up? He seems to think so, I think, because he said slander.
By smearing his name, that's a similar violation as stealing from him or physically harming him, because you have harmed his honor. And a lot of people don't take this seriously. They think that, oh, well, I feel wrong, therefore I'm going to just go out in public and start making accusations. No, people need to be very careful.
What about him? Does he need to be careful what he's saying about her? Because by saying slander, he's saying that she's lying.
These are the kinds of violations that send Muslims to the fire.
Muslims will go to hell for this.
A Muslim can be punished for their injustice against others, especially other Muslims. So before publicly calling people names, there has to be a good reason for it.
Does she have a good reason? Does she have a good reason? Someone who, like Muhammad Hijab, who is so well known, so famous, so Muhammad Hijab, does she have a good reason? She thinks so. And she thinks she's saying that her life was ruined by him. So in her mind, she has a good reason to do this. And now there was one point where she said that he destroyed her life and her daughter's life. Now, I don't know how you can extend it that far. I don't know how she could say that, but about herself, though, you know, to her, that may be a good reason. I mean, it's very subjective to say there has to be a good reason. That's very subjective. It's like, what do you do? What's a good reason? What's a good reason? You know, who gets to determine what a good reason is? You know, for her, it sounds like, she thinks it's a good reason that she's going through so much pain. My church friend was working in a bank in Kuwait and was staying with his family at an opulent apartment. He was shocked to know the promiscuousness of those hijabied women due to their hubby. Well, that's something they say, is that they having that full niqab, it can also be, a good way to hide, So luckily the husband can't prove it. He needs 4 witnesses, thanks to Aisha, the original one. Okay, so okay, what's this? Prostitution, marriage in Islam. How can Sunnis make fun of the Shia for practicing mut'a when it's clear that also in Sunni Islam by a different name? Absolutely, it is. And I almost think this is worst. I almost think this is worst. The Misyar marriage comes from chapter 4, verse 128. Chapter 4, verse 128, where Muhammad had a wife who was a little bit older. She wasn't older than him, but she was older than like his 12-year-old wife or his 6-year-old wife. It was Soda. She was getting old and she was getting fat. It talks about that. And so Muhammad kind of wanted to just kind of divorce her because, she's old and fat. And so you guys, like I said, you can't spoof this stuff. You can't make this stuff up. This is in the hadith. It says this. But she said, look, I'll give up my night. And you don't have to sleep with me anymore. Go sleep with Aisha, on my night. But don't divorce me. Don't throw me out on the streets. And so Muhammad agreed. And there's a beautiful verse in 4:128 that if a woman fears nushuz from her husband, she is allowed she is allowed to forfeit her rights. She is allowed to forfeit her rights. If she's afraid her husband is doing something bad or that he's going to desert her, she's allowed to forfeit her rights, according to this verse 4:128. And amazing graciousness, Allah permits the woman is permitted to, excuse me, the man is allowed to accept her forfeiture of her rights. So, Clutch Films, white people culture, and people figured out all the facts through English language. No other language or people can have anything of value, especially not Revelation. That's a big no-no. Well, since I'm not white, I don't know who you're talking about. Um, but the Bible did not come to white people. They came to Middle Easterners who look like me. In fact, they were my neighbors because they're from my land. So, so I'm not sure exactly what you mean there, Clutch Films. Internal feeling. I'm not sure what you're saying. Are you a Muslim, Clutch Films? Are you a Muslim? I mean, I've never seen you before, so I don't know who you are, no matter your look. So, okay. Okay, I'm not sure exactly what you're saying, Clutch Films. But do you know what I mean? No, I don't. I don't know what you mean, man. So, Black Hebrew Israelite. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. Black Hebrew Israelite. Okay. All right. Well, welcome to the live stream. I hope you can benefit from the conversation here. So let's get back here.
You have to have a good justification for it. But things just get out of hand when it's a personal dispute, and we see the damage that's caused by that.
Personal dispute. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead. He's going to explain to us what misyar marriage is, too.
So let's talk about misyar marriage. Misyar marriage is a type of marriage where the woman voluntarily gives up or forgoes some of her rights. So
Isn't that beautiful? A woman forgoes some rights. So she doesn't have to have her husband take care of her, doesn't have the husband spend money, pay her for help raise her kids, or to be with her, to live with her. He doesn't have to do any of that because, so that's a misyar marriage. This is what Muhammad and Aisha entered into here.
A marriage contract, the husband agrees to maintain his wife, provide her maintenance for living, for food, for clothing. He agrees to give her time, spend time with her. He agrees to spend nights with her. And this is an obligation that he has. If he does not meet the obligation, then this considers taking from her rights. This is oppression. And she has a claim against him in court, in an Islamic court.
Mm-hmm.
But in misyar, you can forego some of those rights. A woman can say, okay, you don't have to pay my rent. I'll marry you and you don't have to pay my rent. Or I will marry you, you can pay my rent, and maybe I'll see you only once a month. Or maybe I'll see you only on the weekends. I'll give up, I'll agree to be a second wife or a third wife because I need the companionship, but you don't have to spend on me. You don't have to spend time with me. This is a misyar marriage.
Isn't that beautiful, you guys? Isn't that just the it's so thoughtful,
Now, is this something that is valid Islamically? Many scholars said that this is a permitted type of marriage. Many scholars have said this is permitted. Others have said, no, this is not permitted. And why it's not permitted, it's because of the bad consequences.
The bad consequences, yes. Well, the problem is the Quran permits it. So if they're going to say it's not permitted, they have to change the Quran. The same way mut'a is permitted in the Quran. Mut'a is permitted in the Quran, chapter 4, I believe it's verse 24. And misyar is permitted in Islam in chapter 4, verse 128. And so they can say whatever they want. Ultimately, the Quran allows it. The Quran allows it. Okay, it's chapter 4. Let me just look at it real quick here. I did something about this before, about poor Soda. You know, she was really okay. If a woman fears indifference or neglect from her husband, there is no blame on either of them if they seek a fair settlement. Humans are ever inclined to selfishness. But in Arabic, it says, in khafat min ba'alha, if a woman feared that her husband nashuz, ill conduct, or iradan, that he would leave her, فلا جناح عليهن إن يصلحن بينهم صالحا وصلح خير الاحتراط الأنفس. Okay. So, you know, what is permitted here is that a woman forego her rights to tanazil an hukukha. She's allowed to do that, and it's permissible for the man to accept it. It's just a beautiful, beautiful situation here. So, but it's in the Quran. So, no matter what they say about some scholars not allowing it, the Quran allows it. So,
Inevitably, there are going to be bad consequences in this type of marriage.
so why does Allah allow it? If inevitable, you know, it reminds me of where Muhammad said, you know, do not marry more than one woman if you're not able to be fair with them. But then a few verses later, he says, it's impossible to be fair with women when you're married to more than one. So why allow it in the first place if it's impossible to be fair?
And this is just known through human psychology.
Oh, psychology now.
Even if a woman agrees that, okay, I'll agree to be your wife and you don't have to pay for anything, even if she agrees to that, that's what she thinks now. What is she going to think tomorrow? What is she going to think next month? In the next 6 months, next year? And psychologically, women have this reaction. And
See, this is the Daniel Haqiqatjou women's psychology. He's got a lot of insight into women's psychology. And this is, you know, he's telling us about women's psychology here. Let's listen. Very important, tremendous insight.
that's what she thinks now. What is she going to think tomorrow? What is she going to think next month? In the next 6 months, next year? And psychologically, women have this reaction, and it's part of hypergamy.
I just want to say, I really think it's so condescending for him to talk about women like that. I just want to say it's really condescending for him to talk about women like that.
And we know what hypergamy means. It's a woman's desire to be with a man who is of higher status than she is, someone who is stronger than her, more capable, more wealthy than her. Women want to be taken care of by a strong man. That's what they desire. And they
learn so much about women's psychology.
That's part of the attraction that she has to a man, is his ability to provide and to take care. So if she is not being provided for, instead of him paying for her rent, she has to pay the rent, and she's sleeping with him, that creates a lack of attraction, and eventually it leads to being repulsed. Eventually it leads to being repulsed by the man. I'm sleeping with him and he's not even paying for my rent. I'm sleeping with him and he's not even providing for my food. Even if she's a millionaire, even if she's rich and she has all the resources, and he is just like living on a minimum wage job, and she agrees voluntarily, yeah, I'll marry you and you don't have to pay for anything. Even if she agrees with that consciously, subconsciously, she grows to resent him. She grows to be disgusted by him. She grows to hate him.
Wow, the Daniel Haqiqatjou school of psychology here. I mean, gender studies with.
This is how it works in 99% of cases. And that's why these kinds of misyar marriages or no strings attached marriages, this is why they end up leading to hurt feelings, anger, divorce.
Well, why does Allah allow it? If it does this, why does Allah allow it?
Major conflict, and children are sometimes involved. Children are left either without a father who's in their lives, other terrible situations that happen, and then larger social consequences, because you have this practice of misyar where people go from their country to an.
Okay, so this wisdom is so profound. Okay, so he's got a little bit more, and he's got some wisdom about different occupations too.
Make that choice. So then if the consequences are not to your liking, you can't then say that, oh, well, that means this marriage is invalid or is history. And there are many others who have practiced this historically. It's something that is in the Islamic tradition. And again,
it's allowed in Islam. It's halal.
It's something that as a woman, you're not forced into it. It's not a coercive situation. You have the choice to accept this type of arrangement.
Okay. But remember, according to what she said, she did not agree to this arrangement. It was foisted on her after she got married. Okay. Muhammad Hijab, according to what she said, told her about this after they already got married and consummated the marriage.
And Islam gives you the freedom to make that choice.
Islam gives you that freedom. That's so important. Islam gives so much freedom.
So then if the consequences are not to your liking, you can't then say that, oh, well, that means this marriage is invalid or that this person is a sleazebag, he is a fasiq because he engaged in this type of marriage. You can't say that. You agreed to it.
But she didn't agree to it. That's the thing. She didn't agree to it. It was foisted on her after she got married.
And in the case of someone who is a celebrity, who is one of these public figures, he has fame, maybe has fortune, maybe has this notoriety. The fact of the matter is, many women want to be with a man like that. You think that there aren't many women who want to be with Muhammad Hijab and wouldn't be willing to forego some of their rights to be married to Muhammad Hijab, even as a second wife, even as a third wife, even as a fourth wife? There are plenty of women who would agree voluntarily to that type of arrangement, to a misyar marriage where they're foregoing some of their rights. They say, yeah.
Isn't that beautiful, you guys? Isn't that beautiful?
Sure, I will be a second wife, and you don't have to provide for me, or you don't have to spend as much time with me. You have your first wife. Just give me one weekend. Just give me this time, limited amount of time. Just give me a few nights. They're willing to do that. They're willing to do. Women, by their nature, many women are willing to get into that type of arrangement. Sometimes
women, by their nature, are willing. You see, this is wisdom on a depth. You know, like it really reminds me of the great wisdom of Sheikh Asim al-Hakim, where he really explains like what happens when women after they die and go to Jannah.
السائل يقول يعني للرجال في الجنة الحور العين ماذا a question about the Hur al-Ain. He said the men in Jannah, we know, will be receiving Hur al-Ain. But what about the women? What do they receive?
Well, we are told that they will only receive their husband and one single person. Because by default, women can only love one man. Subhanallah, by nature, Allah created them unable to love more than one man. But Allah created men to have the capability of loving more than one woman. And
see that wisdom that Sheikh Awesome has, and Daniel Haqiqatjou here is giving us some more very profound wisdom about women. I mean, some insight into their psychology. Let's listen to this again here.
You don't have to provide for me, or you don't have to spend as much time with me. You have your first wife. Just give me one weekend. Just give me this time, limited amount of time. Just give me a few nights. They're willing to do that. They're willing to do. Women, by their nature, many women are willing to get into that.
See, women by their nature. This is a nature issue. They're willing by their nature to get into that
type of arrangement. Sometimes it's the best option that they have.
Now, you guys, it gets.
You ask some of these.
It gets even better. You think, oh, with all this profundity that I've just listened to, it couldn't get any better. No, it gets better. Listen to this.
You can survey. Would you like to be the exclusive monogamous wife of a janitor, or the second wife of a movie star, a celebrity, a wealthy celebrity, a tall, dark, and handsome celebrity who only spends 5% of his time with you? His 5% of his available time he spends with you, 95% with his other wife or wives. Would you agree to, is that more preferable, or to be married to the janitor? And many women will admit that they prefer the celebrity. That's your preference. You're the one who agreed, or you're the one who pursued this celebrity. And
don't forget, you guys, this is all going back to what Muhammad Hijab did to Aisha, and Daniel Haqiqatjou here justifying what Muhammad Hijab did. And
it didn't work out, because that's the thing that a lot of these women have in mind. They think that
some more female psychology, guys. Might want to take notes.
Just want to get my foot in the door, because if I agree to be a second wife, and I agree to have that one weekend per month with this celebrity, he's going to fall in love with me, and he's going to become infatuated with me, and he's going to dump his first wife. And I'm going to become his whole world. That's the kind of thought process that the women have. So they roll the dice.
This is how the thought process of how women think. Thank you, Daniel.
They take the risk. Okay. And it's not really a risk. They don't psychologically perceive it as a risk. They think it's a done deal. Of course, he's going to love me more than he loves anyone else. Of course. And then when he doesn't love you and put you on that pedestal, oh, then he's abusive. He hasn't fulfilled his promises. No, he hasn't fulfilled the promises that you had in your head for your own future. And that's why you're so angry. That's why you feel so cheated. You thought again, I'm not talking about this Muslim sister or Muhammad Hijab. I'm just speaking theoretically about women's psychology. In many cases,
women's psychology
that they feel are like a reality to them.
See, this is a reality for women's psychology. You guys, I hope you're taking notes, you guys. This is some profound wisdom here about female psychology.
The feelings are their reality. Facts don't care about your feelings, but in a woman's minds, in the minds of many women, their feelings are facts. So when in her mind, she feels like, oh, we're going to have this beautiful future together. She's fantasizing and imagining, oh, I'm going to be with this celebrity and we're going to travel the world and I'm going to be his wife and he's going to be so devoted to me. Everything has been played out in their minds.
Can you imagine a woman wanting her husband to be devoted to her? What a terrible thing.
When that reality doesn't come to fruition, they feel like, oh, promises were broken. Promises were not fulfilled. I was cheated. I was abused. Now I'm questioning my aqidah. My Islam is now in question. This is how it goes. This is how it goes. And there's a common trope about women being influenced by Hollywood, by these romantic movies.
Is this a common trope about women?
And romantic stories of your Prince Charming coming and sweeping you off your feet and living.
Is it wrong for a woman to want a Prince Charming to sweep her off her feet?
Happily ever after, and then
is it wrong for her to want to be happily ever after?
You get into marriage and it's difficult. There's conflict, there's responsibilities, and I have to actually meet my end of the bargain. And this is how dissatisfaction in marriage creeps up. And if a woman is smart, she realizes that, well, I was just deluded and my expectations were all incorrect.
My expectations were incorrect. What? Her expectation that he would sweep her off her feet, that they would live happily ever after, that she would have a happy home, that they were incorrect.
And I have to reform my expectations to make this marriage work. Other women who are not smart, or who are not mature enough, they think that they are the victims. They have been abused. He didn't meet my storybook Hollywood expectations of marriage. Therefore, he's an abuser. He's taking advantage of me. He hasn't fulfilled his promises to me. And then they push for divorce. They create this messy, disgusting situation where a family is destroyed. Many such cases, right? Many such cases. And if you're married or you're divorced or you're older than 30 years old, if you yourself...
Here's the wisdom, you guys. Please, if I know some of you have not been taking notes. Some of you don't have a pencil and paper in your hand right now. Please go get a pencil and a paper because you want to write down what he's going to say now. This is very important. Okay. So please go get a paper and pencil. I'll just wait a few seconds here. You get a paper and pencil, and so you can take notes on what he's about to say. It is really profound.
If you haven't experienced something like this, then you know a lot of people who have. So what really is the situation? Like, let's take this Muslim woman's claims at face value and say, okay, fine. There was a marriage. There was a marriage. It was clearly a misyar marriage. It was some kind of misyar marriage. You agreed to be a second wife. Clearly, you're getting a lot out of it. Why would a celebrity want to marry you, who is a divorcee, with a child, and you're in your 30s?
Yeah. Did you hear that? That's so wow. Dang. Why would a celebrity want to marry you? You're a divorcee with a child and you're over 30. Beautiful, compassionate words. Look at how beautiful the background is on here, you guys. Look, it's so nice. It's got all these beautiful decorations, and look at the lighting in the lighting in his bookshelf. I mean, this guy's got a very nice setup here with the red lights over here and everything, and the maroon colored coffee cup, and but the stuff he says.
Okay, so you're not, if it were some like 16-year-old, 17-year-old virgin, that's a different situation, or that's something where your marriageability or your marital value.
Marital value, guys. Please write this down, you guys. You got the paper and pencil. Marital value. This is very important wisdom here.
On the marriage marketplace is much higher. If
On the marriage marketplace, okay, I'll go back because I know some of you guys didn't write that down, so you want to see it again. Okay, the marriage marketplace, the marital value on the marriage marketplace.
if it were some like 16-year-old, 17-year-old virgin, that's a different situation, or that's something claims at face value and say, okay, fine, there was a marriage. It was clearly a misyar marriage. It was some kind of misyar marriage. You agreed to be a second wife. Clearly, you're getting a lot out of it. Why would a celebrity want to marry you, who is a divorcee with a child, and you're in your 30s? Okay, so you're not, if it were some like 16-year-old, 17-year-old virgin, that's a different situation, or that's something where your marriageability or your marital value on the marriage marketplace is much higher if you're a 17-year-old, 18-year-old, 19-year-old virgin. This is your first marriage, but no, you're divorced. And women hate to acknowledge this reality, but it's true. You are divorced, you're in your 30s, and it doesn't matter what other qualities that you have. Like, this is a fact.
This is a fact.
So his marriage ability or his value on the marriage marketplace is much, much higher than yours.
Okay, his value on the marriage marketplace is much, much higher than yours, even though he's already married and has kids and he already had another second wife. His value on the marriage marketplace is that, by the way, you guys, on the marriage marketplace, is that on Facebook, the marriage marketplace? And is there like an app where you can determine your marital value on the marriage marketplace?
That's a fact.
It's a fact, you guys.
He agrees to marry you, and it doesn't work out. Where's the scandal? Where is the terrible crime?
You don't see it, huh?
That has been committed. That's the question that I'm left with.
Really? Really? It's a question?
Even if we say Muhammad Hijab, he agrees to this misyar marriage, and he agrees to give you X, Y, or Z, and then it doesn't work out. For any number of reasons, it could not work out. Maybe you didn't meet his expectations. Maybe you didn't fulfill something.
Remember in the text, he said to her, he said, I could just say that you didn't satisfy me sexually.
How is this a scandal? This is just another he said, she said conflict that happen every day. This happens every day. Every single case of divorce is the same thing. He said, she said. He did not meet my expectations. He made promises that he did not fulfill. She made promises that she did not fulfill. She mistreated me. She caused fights. He didn't take out the trash. She didn't, dress up for me, whatever. Everyone has complaints. Everyone believes themselves to be mistreated.
Okay. Well, that's about all I can stomach today. And so, dude, we got a lot of very valuable vocabulary. We got your marital value at the marriage marketplace. But you know what? Everything he was saying is halal. Everything he was saying is halal. Everything he was saying was halal, you know. He wasn't just talking out of nowhere. Those are hadiths. Those are Quran verses. Everything. And, you know, if you guys want to go watch it, it's on there. You can see his dude. How sad. How sad. Market. Meat market. Yeah, boy, yeah. All right, you guys. Well, shoot. You can't make this stuff up. You know, you can't spoof it because there's who can make this something funnier than what he was saying. So yeah, you just sit back and go, dang, did I really just see that? Did he really say those things? And yeah, this is Islam, folks, out of the mouth of Dawah boys themselves, justifying the madness. How embarrassing. Pray for Muslims to leave this cult. Amen. So, well, you guys, thank you for spending some time with us. And let's just look. By the way, there was another video. There was another video on Behind the Veil about this situation. I looked at it, but I didn't really see anything earth-shattering, but I'll look at it again. If there's anything that I feel is important, I'll talk about tomorrow. But anyway, appreciate you guys spending some time with us. If you haven't done it, please do it now. Jesus, help me. Jesus, forgive me. Jesus, come into my heart. Jesus, help me. Jesus, forgive me. Jesus, come into my heart. Yesur, sa'idni. Yesur, samahni. Yesur, udkhul qalbi. We love you, but much more importantly, he loves you. Thank you so much for being with us. Have a great night.
If you have ever wondered why Dawah apologists lie so much, it's because on a rare occasion that they tell the truth, this happens.
One of the reasons I accepted Islam was the scientific miracles. I'll be honest with you. And now we know that this whole scientific miracles was absolute nonsense.
You're going to have to repeat that.
That the standard narrative has holes in it. That's what I'm going to say.